Imu does not have a devil fruit powers. Instead, Imu is the master of Haki, advanced Conqueror, advanced armament and advanced observation. He has taken Haki to such an extreme level that nobody can defeat him. Even Shanks, whose Conqueror can counter a future sight of other people, can pales in comparison against Imu. That is why Imu is the final villain of One Piece and someone whom Luffy needs to defeat using Haki plus his devil fruit. Yes. So what is Haki? Haki is simply the manifestation of someone's willpower through a raw physical strength. It is invisible in the eyes, but it can be felt or it can even be exerted through the physical means. For example, Armament Haki. Armament Haki is basically a manifestation of an armor, a protective cover around one's body, and this is because you need a protective armor to defend yourself against the forces of nature like fire, magma, ice, thunder, lightning, all of these powers that defies the logic of the world. You need something to protect yourself from these kinds of power, and Imu created Armament Haki to fight against Logia. We all know that armament is extremely useful against Logia powers because Logia cannot be hurt unless Armament Haki is used. So when the military forces of ancient kingdom uses the power of Logia fruit, obviously Imu needed something that can not only counter the natural forces of the world but also increase one physical strength to an utmost level, like extreme power. Haki generally gives power. Armament Haki generally gives power to a user, and this is a fact because we all know that after a long time of training, Luffy was able to punch Khan in one shot. That was the power of Armament Haki, and we all know that Armament Haki is also extremely useful against John Devil Fruit users. So Imu, keeping this in mind, created Armament Haki to fight the overwhelming power of Devil Fruits, where it could not only defy the natural forces but also beat down John forces that resembles the extreme power of animal kingdom. So we all know, now we can be sure that Imu created Armament Haki to fight against Logia and John fruit. Alright, this is the first point that I made. Now let's talk about the second reason why he could create Observation Haki, or rather all kinds of Haki, to defeat his enemies. We all know that Paramecia Devil Fruit comes with different kind of powers. They are absurd and totally unrealistic, but even though they are absurd, they are still extremely powerful, such as Large Devil Fruit, Pinomi, and Vanagar's Devil Fruit, Wapu Wapunomi, and Suryu Devil Fruit, Suke Sukinomi. These are some of the frightening powers that cannot be visible with the naked eyes. You cannot predict their movement with your eyes alone. They could be invisible, they could just appear in front of you in an instant. This is all unknown unless you have something such as future sight. What if you can see person approaching you even if they are invisible? What if you can see the person striking their sword against you out of nowhere and you can still dodge it if you can see it before they can strike? And this is why Observation Haki is really important. And Imu, knowing the power of these weird abilities that Paramecia gives, created the Observation Haki to counter these kind of forces. And finally, Conqueror Haki. We all know that Conqueror Haki is one of the most important power of the Haki system because it literally amplify the power of any other kinds of Haki. You cannot defeat the forces of all these kinds of devil fruit with armament and observation alone. So here comes my third point, and this is something absurd but also interesting to think about. How do you defeat a creature who can make his thoughts reality? How can you defeat a person whose imagination can change and shape the reality itself? There is no possible explanation to defeat someone with such a power, but Nika, Sun God Nika, or rather Joy Boy of the past, was defeated. I don't think he was defeated by none other than Imu. So let's just assume that he was defeated by Imu. So what could possibly Imu have to defeat such power? Water fruit? Are you kidding me? If water fruit is a power that exists, then it can still be changed. The water can still be changed with the imagination of a person. Luffy's devil fruit is known as the most ridiculous fruit of the all time because his imagination can change and shape the reality itself. That's the power. And how can you defeat such power with water fruit? That does not even make sense. Even if you say that you can make him unable to use the powers using the water devil fruit power, it is impossible, simply because just being inside water does not cancel the power of the devil fruit. In Arlong Park, Luffy was able to use the devil fruit powers despite being underwater. While they were visiting the Fishman Island, he was still able to use the power of his devil fruit despite being underwater. Being underwater or using the seawater does not cancel the devil fruit. So how can you defeat a devil fruit that can shape reality using the water fruit? It doesn't even make sense. So what could possibly be the reason that allowed Imu to defeat Joy Boy? But let's think about it, okay? If you cannot defy the nature, if you cannot shape the nature, if you cannot do the absurd thing in the nature, what if you can make them listen to you? What if you can force them to listen to you? What if you can control them, or rather conquer them? That would be insane, right? If you cannot if you cannot make natural forces like ice and fire, what if you can control the existing ice and fire? If you cannot control the space and move around, what if you can conquer the space and force it to move around? This is all possible if Conqueror's Haki is taken to the extreme limit. I know this sounds absurd, but One Piece is an absurd story and this is just a fan theory, so I don't mind talking about it. So let's think about it for a moment. What if Imu had the power of Conqueror's Haki that can conquer the reality itself? What is stopping him from fighting against a force of nature that can change reality? No matter how many times Joy Boy changes reality, that reality would still listen to Imu because he is the conqueror. He is the one who is going to win against the Ancient Kingdom, who is going to defeat the Joy Boy. He is the one. So obviously his Conqueror's Haki would overwhelm the existing force of Devil Fruit. With these three Hakis, Imu has a chance, or rather Imu defeated the Ancient Kingdom. But this also makes him a really interesting villain, because no matter which kind of Devil Fruit you have, it is almost impossible to defeat him. But what if you have both? What if you have Devil Fruit and Haki, and if you merge them together, if you take them to the extreme level like the peak Devil Fruit and peak Haki, there is a chance that you can defeat such power. If Conquerors and Conquerors collide, then the one with the strongest Devil Fruit will come out on the top. In the fight between Kaido and Luffy, both of them had the equal power in terms of Haki. They were advanced Conquerors, advanced Armament and advanced Observation Haki. What made Luffy final winner is his Devil Fruit. His Devil Fruit, the most ridiculous power in the world, was the main reason why he won in the first place. So if we combine this fact with Imu's battle, if Luffy manages to achieve the peak of advanced observation, Armament and Conqueror's Haki, then he would be able to defeat, or rather he would be the one to defeat Imu, because Imu might have Devil Fruit power. He might have Devil Fruit power right now. We don't know that. I'm not a writer of One Piece, but even if he does have, we have established one fact that it is Luffy's Devil Fruit is broken. His Devil Fruit is the most ridiculous power in the world, and that is the reason why he will win the final boss battle against Imu, because he still needs to learn Haki and take it to a new level. He might learn it from Shanks, he might learn it on his own, or we don't know how he's going to learn it, but he's definitely going to take his haki to another level, because without that he might not be able to defeat Imu. Even Shanks is a tough opponent for him, because Shanks can block future sight, other future sight, so he might be able to attack Luffy, and Luffy might not even able to perceive his attack. That would totally be devastating for Luffy, and that is why Luffy needs to take his haki to another level to fight against Imu. And unlike other character, Luffy is the main character of the story, so he's not just bringing observation, or rather armament or conqueror's haki to the top. He's bringing all of them. He's going to reach the peak for all of them, and he's going to combine this with the devil fruit power to defeat Imu. At least that's what I think, and I'm not a writer of this series. I'm just a fan who enjoys One Piece, and this is my thought about Imu's power level and power. So what do you guys think? If you like this video, if you stayed till now, then don't forget to like the video and also subscribe for more. If I find some interesting topic like that, I would like to share my thoughts with you guys. And also don't forget to check out my other series, which is a fan fiction that I'm currently writing. So see you in the next video.